Motherfucker.
Ready? And it looks like they're ready. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, stay on me. I have to change. I'll do the camera 4 later. It's not ready yet. Okay, so here we go. All right. What was that? Okay, let's see here.
Okay.
Oh, you ready already? Oh, he's ready. Bam.
So there's nothing for this, right? Yeah, jokes. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've heard this story, right? So this story broke last week when I was out telling jokes in Canada. Bumped into Justin Trudeau. If you want to hear that story, come see us doing comedy in Ashland, Virginia, and Athens, Georgia this next weekend. Biden's threat to halt weapons deliveries sparks anger and infighting among Israeli officials. So you've heard that story. And this is where the story comes from. But there's more to it. Listen to this.
If they go into Rafah, they haven't gone into Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah.
So if they go into Rafah, I'm not going to give them the weapons to keep slaughtering women and children like I have. I've been doing that for like 7 months now. Yeah, I've been giving them the weapons. You know, all those dead babies you see, all those dead women, the aid workers that they've been slaughtering. I've been giving them the weapons to do that. But now, for some reason, if they go into Rafah, I'm going to pause it. That's what he says. That's what there's a little more to this.
It's wrong.
Biden made those comments tonight during an interview with CNN. It comes after similar messages from top U.S. officials, a new level of pressure on Israel to avoid a full-scale invasion of Rafah. The city in southern Gaza is a Hamas stronghold that also shelters more than 1 million civilians. But as Chris Brown shows us, what Israel calls a pinpoint operation in the city continues while ceasefire talks have hit a wall.
In the face of near-unanimous global opposition to a ground offensive into Rafah, Israel's military pursued its attacks. Its officials say this is a calibrated, limited incursion aimed at exerting pressure on Hamas. But on the ground, these scenes, shot by a freelance videographer working for CBC News, suggest civilians are among the dead.
Suggests.
In the whole area, there are only civilians. There are no militants, said Reda al-Najili, who witnessed the attack. For the first time, a senior U.S. official acknowledged publicly that the U.S. has withheld a shipment of ammunition to Israel to send a message not to go any further.
Israel shouldn't launch a major attack in Rafah without accounting for and protecting the civilians that are in that battle space.
Privately, Israeli officials are said to be furious over the U.S. move, but publicly, they've tried to downplay the significance of it. All of this comes against the backdrop of ongoing negotiations with Hamas. Monday, the militant group said it accepted a ceasefire proposal, but Israel said Hamas changed the terms of the agreement. In Gaza, there's fear the talks will fail again. We spoke to Canadian Nika Aleksander, who's in Rafah with the World Health Organization.
As we drove through the streets yesterday and today, you could see people have piled up everything they own onto donkey carts, crammed into cars, many people together in a bus, just trying to get to some place that maybe will feel safer. But we do feel that nowhere is completely safe, so that's really stressful.
While aid trucks, which had been unable to enter Gaza for several days, began moving again, Alexander says the flow of medical supplies and fuel for generators has reduced to a trickle, adding to a sense of impending doom.
You just can't imagine how many people might die if there's a great escalation in the fighting in this area.
Hamas is demanding a guarantee that the war will end if it frees the hostages, but Israel says it will only consider a temporary pause, as many members of its coalition government are adamant that the fight against Hamas must continue.
So anyway, it's horrible. All right, they're doing it. They're just blowing up, just killing civilians, and that's their game. And because they want them out, They want that land. Israel wants that land. They've always wanted that land. They wanted that land since 1948. That's why they've been doing all this stuff that they've been doing. That's why they're an occupying force. They've been occupying Palestine and Gaza and the West Bank. They're occupying it. But so here's what I think is happening. So Joe Biden already gave Israel all the weapons they need to do this. They already have all the weapons. So now Joe Biden is trying to save his political ass in the upcoming election, and he's going to try and now look like he's standing up against Israel, saying, I was for genocide for 7 months, but then I stopped. And so he's trying to make it look like, they're trying to make it look like Biden and his administration are pushing back on Israel, saying by the way, they're just pausing the weapons. They're not stopping. They're pausing, which is the same thing that Donald Trump did to Ukraine, and they impeached him over it. But anyway, they're pausing weapons shipments to Israel so they can't. But they already have all the weapons they need. And by the way, they get a lot of them from Germany, too. So they already have. So Biden already gave them all the weapons they need to do this. That's my theory. And now this is just politics. So Biden can go try to save his political ass by making it look like he's standing up against Israel. And what else backs up my theory? So this is from May 7th in antiwar.com. Biden gave Netanyahu the green light to capture Rafah crossing. President Biden and Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu discussed Israel's plans to capture Rafah border crossing in southern Gaza before the Israeli military launched the operation. Axios reported that on Tuesday. The report said that the operation didn't cross Biden's red line, although it's unclear if the United States has actually set red lines for Israel. U.S. officials have said that they're opposed to a major operation in Rafah since it would incur huge civilian casualties, unlike what they've been doing for the last 7 months. But the capturing of the border crossing will have a devastating impact on civilians since it cut off vital aid at deliveries, and it's unclear when or if they will resume. A senior Israeli official told Axios that during the call with Netanyahu, Biden didn't pull the handbrake on the capture of the Rafah crossing during the call. 2 U.S. officials said Biden didn't view the current Israeli operation as a breaking point in relations. On Tuesday, White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said that the U.S. was not opposed to the operation. We've been very consistent about our concerns of a major ground operation in Gaza that would put at great risk the refugees that are still there, and nothing's changed about that, Kirby said. The Israelis have told us that's not what this is. He said the Israelis assured the U.S. that the operation was of limited scope, scale, and duration, and aimed at cutting off Hamas' ability to ship arms across the Rafah border. Israeli tanks and soldiers took the border crossing as Israeli strikes pounded the city of Rafah, killing at least 23 Palestinians, including 5 women and 6 children. That was back on May 7th, so it's way worse now. And so, to me, Biden's okay with this. They came up with we're brilliant. Let's give them all the weapons they need. Let's tell them it's okay. And then we'll say this publicly. We'll go, we're upset with them over Rafah. And so now now the people who aren't voting for Biden because of this can now say, look, Biden's coming around. And maybe they'll vote for him again because Donald Trump is as extreme as he's ever been on this. So that's my theory. That's why I think this is Joe Biden and his administration and Lloyd Austin, when they proclaim that they're going to pause weapons shipments to Israel over Rafah, I think they're lying. I think this is all a political hoax. So it gives Joe Biden some kind of standing with the people who stopped voting for him over this. That's my guess. Okay, over to Steph.
All right. Thank you, Jimmy. Hey, all right. Let me make sure I did this. Gotta make sure I get this right. All right, here we go. Anya's segment on Tucker and Max's arrest mobilized me to protest in solidarity with them and Maduro. Spent the night in the pokey and got a 2 felony count indictment. I was lucky it got deferred. Wow. You did get lucky on that one. All right. Joe Biden and the other Obama-era Dems are Kissinger Democrats. This is why the guy with the D next to his name doesn't care about innocent people dying in Gaza. Yeah, no kidding. All right, let me make sure I can get rid of that. Let's see what this one. Trump did not lock her up because they are on the same team. The past 3 administrations are on the record taking massive Rothschild funds. One club.
Okay.
Ooh, that's tax evasion. Thank you for that. Back to Jimmy.
Sure, it's a common ocean, perpetual emotion, but I don't need the comfort of any lies. I've seen the ending, and there's no ascending rise. Oh, back when I
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit
Isn't it swell? The memes make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle-diddle-diddle-digga-digga-diddle-diddle-dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
At this time, more than any other time, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, the babies that have been murdered, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, money poor people. This government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. We don't really know what war is, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison, but they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators, and they're going to have riots on their hands. They're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. We have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating what we need, what needs to be done. And, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. Don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, this system and those backing the officials running the system, want people to believe that revolution means violence, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. When people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. They get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it. Then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. Every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is, whether you want to be or not. Our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. Men, women, and children were murdered. And not just MOVE babies. What about all of the young men, women, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, by drug pushers? Where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, making a quick buck, I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, you know, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. You know, how long are people going to sit back and beg, you know, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years all you've gotten is a slap in the face? All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.